All right, so we're diving into Baby John this time.
Oh, yeah. This one is causing a bit of a stir, isn't it?
Definitely a lot of buzz.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a remake of Theri, for those who don't know.
Right, right. The Tamil hit.
From about 8 years back.
Yeah.
And people have a lot of opinions about this one.
It's interesting how the reactions are splitting.
Yeah, what's going on there?
It seems like it really depends on whether someone's seen Theri the original.
Uh-huh. So the people who haven't seen the original, they're loving Baby John.
Oh, yeah, they're really into it. The energy, the look of it, Varun Dhawan.
Yeah, they're just finding it a really fun, exciting movie.
Right, and for them, the story's fresh, keeps them hooked.
It's all new to them.
Yeah, exactly. They're seeing those classic Bollywood elements and they're loving it.
But then on the other hand, you've got the people who have seen Theri.
And for a lot of them, it's like Baby John is a bit too close to the original.
Like it's not bringing anything new to the table.
Yeah, they're saying it's predictable.
Like a paint by numbers kind of thing.
Right, and that's where the disappointment comes in.
They wanted to see something more.
Exactly. It's not just seeing the same story again.
Right.
It's that feeling of a missed opportunity.
Like the filmmakers could have reimagined things, added new layers.
Right, given it their own spin.
Yeah, instead they pretty much stuck to the original.
Yeah, and some people are even calling it a copycat film.
Ouch.
Yeah, they're saying it lacks inspiration.
And when you look at certain scenes, it's easy to see why they'd say that.
Oh yeah, there are parts that are almost identical.
Like that car chase scene with the Jeep.
Right, and the police stick. That was pretty much shot for shot.
Yeah, and that bus plunge too.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty dramatic in both.
So it's like they just copied those big moments.
And even some of the smaller details too.
Like what?
Like the little girl's nickname for the hero, even that's the same.
Oh, wow.
It makes you wonder why bother with a remake at all if you're not going to change things up.
That's a good question. And speaking of things that aren't quite hitting the mark,
What's that?
the villain.
Oh, yeah, what about him?
A lot of people are saying he's just not that intimidating.
Like he's not a strong enough threat.
Yeah, he's not scary enough.
Right, and for an action movie, that's kind of important.
You need that edge of your seat feeling.
Exactly. You need to believe the hero is in real danger.
Otherwise, the whole conflict falls flat.
Right. The stakes aren't high enough.
Now, when it comes to the acting in general, it's a mixed bag.
How so?
Some are praising Varun Dhawan. They're saying he's delivering a really powerful performance, but then others are finding it a bit over the top.
Too dramatic.
Yeah, and it's not just him. Some are saying the acting overall is a bit much.
Especially compared to the original.
Right, like the emotional intensity is just dialed up too high.
Yeah, it's like they're being told how to feel instead of it feeling natural.
And Kirti Suresh is getting some specific mentions.
Oh, really?
Everyone agrees she's talented. But they're saying her performance lacks that same spark that Samantha brought to the role in Theri.
Yeah, it shows how different acting choices can really change how the audience feels.
Big time.
Especially when you have the original performance to compare it to.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But there is one performance that seems to be universally loved.
Oh, yeah, who's that?
The little girl who plays Varun Dhawan's daughter.
Oh, that's sweet.
Everyone's saying she's the heart stealer of the film.
She's winning everyone over.
Yeah, it seems like she's bringing this genuine charm and innocence to the screen.
Yeah, it's that realness that connects with people.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if they've seen Theri or not.
Right. She's just got that something special.
So overall, it seems like even though the story and the acting are getting mixed reactions, there are certain elements that are consistently hitting the mark.
Like what?
The music.
Oh, yeah, the music's great.
The visuals.
Yeah, very visually appealing.
And that overall Masala entertainment factor.
So it's delivering on the Bollywood spectacle.
But it makes you wonder, is that enough for a remake?
Yeah, shouldn't it offer something more than just the familiar stuff?
Exactly. Shouldn't it be more than just a rehash?
Right. That's where the conversation gets really interesting.
Because a lot of people are craving something more.
They want to see originality.
They want something that pushes the boundaries a bit.
Yeah, they want to see what a Bollywood remake can really be.
And this leads to a bigger question that's being discussed.
What's that?
Is Bollywood becoming too reliant on remakes? Is this trend stifling creativity?
Like, are we running out of new ideas?
Yeah. Are we sacrificing originality for familiarity?
These are big questions.
The big questions.
Yeah, it makes you think about the state of the industry.
And what audiences really want.
Exactly.
It's pretty amazing how one film can spark such a wide-ranging conversation.
It really is. Baby John has definitely touched a nerve.
Yeah, the reactions are definitely not simple.
No, they're not.
Okay, so we've heard from the people who are loving it and those who are hating it.
Yeah. Right, the extremes.
But what about the folks in the middle?
The it's okay crowd.
Yeah, what are they saying?
Oh, they're out there too.
What are they saying?
Well, they're not blown away,
Not running to tell their friends.
but they're not turned off either.
So they're just kind of, about it.
Pretty much, they think Varun Dhawan did a decent job,
Okay.
and the movie has its moments, but overall,
But overall,
it's predictable.
nothing special.
Right, it didn't really leave a lasting impression.
And they're probably thinking it's not really worth the price of admission if you've already seen Theri.
Yeah, especially if you've seen Theri.
It's like they're echoing that sentiment of wanting more. Like it's a decent watch.
Right, if you're looking for something mindless.
And you've got nothing else to do.
Sure, but don't expect to be blown away.
And they're also saying it feels a bit too long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like they could have trimmed some parts without losing anything important.
Like sometimes less is more, you know.
Exactly. So it seems like Baby John, while it's definitely getting attention, isn't quite a universal hit.
Because dividing people.
And it shows that the success of a remake really depends on finding that balance.
What balance?
Between honoring the original and bringing something new to the table.
That's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah.
You got to keep the old fans happy, but also try to win over new ones.
Right.
It's a tightrope walk for sure.
All right. So we've talked about the good, the bad, and the meh.
Yeah.
But there's one more group we need to talk about.
What is that?
The people who are downright angry.
Oh, yeah. The ones who are really upset about this remake.
Yeah, they're seeing it as a betrayal of Theri.
Like it's ruining something they love.
Exactly. And they're not holding back.
What are they saying?
They're calling it a disaster, a failure, a shameful imitation.
Strong words.
Yeah, they're really passionate about this.
So what's fueling that anger?
Well, a lot of it seems to stem from the lack of originality. And that over-the-top acting style.
Which they feel misses the point of the original.
Exactly. Like it's lost the heart and soul of the story.
Yeah, it's like they're mourning what this remake could have been.
And their anger isn't just directed at the film itself.
Where else is it going?
They're criticizing Bollywood as a whole.
For what?
This trend of churning out remakes.
Instead of coming up with new ideas.
Yeah, they're seeing Baby John as a symptom of a larger problem.
Like the industry is becoming lazy.
And unoriginal.
It's a valid concern.
For sure.
Are we sacrificing creativity for the sake of familiarity?
Yeah, it's a question worth asking.
Definitely.
It's a reminder that behind these reactions are fans who really care about these stories.
They're invested.
Their anger comes from a place of love.
We want to see these films treated with respect.
Exactly.
And given the creative energy they deserve.
So Baby John has definitely struck a nerve.
No doubt about it.
It stirred up a whirlwind of reactions.
Yeah.
And sparked a larger conversation about originality, creativity, and what we truly value in our films. Big topics.
Big topic.
And it's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
Baby John might be flawed, but it's definitely gotten people talking.
And that's something.
Yes.
It shows that the film has made an impact.
It's gotten under people's skin.
And it's made them think.
And that's what we're here to do.
Explore those reactions.
To go deeper.
Peel back the layers.
And see what we find.
So, what about you?
What about me?
What are your initial thoughts on all of this?
Well, I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah.
I want to see where this deep dive takes us.
Awesome. Me too. I'm excited to see what we uncover.
Let's do it. Yeah. It really is amazing how one film can get so many different reactions going.
And it's not just about whether you liked it or not.
No.
It's about what those reactions tell us about what we're looking for as viewers.
Yeah, like in a remake or just a Bollywood film in general.
Yeah, it makes a good story.
Exactly.
And this whole thing about Baby John being too close to the original Theri,
Yeah.
it's making people question Bollywood itself. Like, are we playing it too safe as an industry?
Are we getting stuck in these formulas?
Remakes all the time.
Instead of trying new things, new stories.
Yeah, it's like Baby John accidentally started this whole debate.
Originality versus familiarity.
Right, and there are good arguments on both sides.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, some people see remakes as a sign that we're running out of ideas.
Like we're out of creativity.
Right. But then others say a good remake can introduce a classic story to a whole new audience.
Give it new life.
Exactly.
It's like that question of whether a cover song can ever be as good as the original.
Sometimes it can bring out new things you might have missed before.
But sometimes it feels empty, like it's missing something.
Yeah, and that seems to be the issue with Baby John, right?
Yeah, it's not that it's a bad film.
No.
But it can't escape Theri.
It's stuck.
It's not different enough to feel new.
Right.
But it's not familiar enough to be comforting either.
It's in this weird in-between place.
No man's land.
And that's why people are feeling unsatisfied.
They're asking, what's the point of a remake if it doesn't bring something new?
It makes you think about the remakes that really worked.
Yeah.
The ones that stood on their own.
But still honor the original.
What's the secret ingredient there?
Yeah, what makes a remake truly great?
Okay, so we've talked big picture trends, remakes. But let's get to the heart of Baby John.
The emotional core.
Is it connecting with people?
Well, that's another split decision.
Meaning?
Some people are finding it really impactful.
They like the emotional beats.
Yeah, they're praising Varun Dhawan. They say he's showing vulnerability. You can feel his character's pain, his love for his daughter.
Right, that he's fighting for what's right.
That determination.
But others are saying those emotional moments aren't working.
They feel rushed.
Like they're being told what to feel.
Not natural.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to how it's done.
The pacing, the acting, the directing.
One scene can be completely different just based on how it's handled.
And this is where the Theri comparison comes up again.
Of course, people who love the original are coming to Baby John with expectations.
They remember how those moments felt in Theri.
And it's hard to live up to that.
It's not just about copying the same emotions either.
No, it's about capturing that authenticity, that heart that resonated with people the first time.
And one relationship that's getting a lot of attention is Varun Dhawan and Kirti Suresh.
The romantic leads.
Some people are saying they don't have that same spark.
Like they did in the original.
Yeah, that chemistry, that unspoken connection.
You need that to make the romance work.
To make it believable.
Right.
But some people are saying the relationship between Varun and his daughter,
The little girl.
that's the most genuine part of the film.
They like that father-daughter bond.
Yeah, they're praising the chemistry between the actors, those sweet moments.
And it's driving the emotional story.
It's interesting how those small, intimate moments can have the biggest impact.
Yeah, they ground the film.
Remind us why we care about the characters.
So we've talked about the characters, the relationships.
What about the overall message of the film?
Is there one?
What's it trying to say?
And is it working?
More mixed reactions.
What are people saying?
Some are praising Baby John for its message about family,
Okay.
sacrifice, standing up for what's right.
Those are good values.
They see it as a film that inspires you to be a better person.
To do the right thing even when it's hard.
Like it gives you hope.
In a world that feels kind of messy.
But others are saying the message is too heavy-handed,
Too preachy.
like they're being lectured.
Yeah, instead of being allowed to figure things out for themselves.
And there's a fine line between exploring themes and just telling the audience what to think.
Right. And it seems like Baby John is walking that line.
It wants to be entertaining, but also make you think.
But finding that balance is tough.
It makes you wonder how a film can be impactful, but also subtle.
Yeah, how can it make you think without forcing it?
And that's where Baby John might be stumbling. It wants to be morally strong,
Okay.
but it doesn't always trust the audience to think for themselves,
It's telling them what's right and wrong.
instead of letting them decide.
And that can be a turnoff for some people.
They want to be part of the story.
Not just told what to think.
They want to engage with the ideas.
Come to their own conclusions.
So Baby John wants to be both a mindless entertainer and a film with something to say.
A tough combination.
It is.
And it leads to interesting questions about what we want from movies.
What's the role of entertainment?
How powerful can a story be?
Okay, so we've talked emotions message comparisons to the theory.
Mm-hmm.
Let's shift gears a bit.
To what?
The technical stuff.
Okay.
How are those aspects being received?
What's interesting is that even people who don't love the story or the acting,
They seem to agree that Baby John is really well made.
from a technical standpoint,
Yeah, they're praising the cinematography, the editing, the music, the whole production.
they're saying it looks amazing.
Visually stunning.
It's clear they put a lot of effort into making it look good.
They're impressed with how the camera captures the emotion.
And the action.
It's telling two stories at once.
That's skillful cinematography.
And the music is a hit, too.
What do they like about it?
They're calling it a perfect blend of dance numbers and soulful melodies.
It's supporting the story.
Yeah, enhancing the ups and downs.
A good soundtrack should do that.
become part of the film.
And some reviewers are even pointing out specific songs.
They like the melodies and the lyrics.
Like the music is speaking for the characters.
Giving voice to their emotions.
Music can be so powerful.
It gets right to your feelings.
And let's not forget the production design. People are impressed with the details.
It sets the costumes.
It's a visually rich world.
And they're saying the CGI and the practical effects are really well done.
Especially in the action scenes.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Which is important in an action movie.
You have to believe what you're seeing.
Otherwise, it takes you out of it.
Exactly, and it sounds like Baby John got that right.
Impressive visuals, but not overwhelming.
Action. That's exciting, but still believable.
So even though people have issues with the originality
and the story,
they can still appreciate the work that went into making it.
Yeah, it's a reminder that filmmaking is a team effort.
Lots of talented people behind the scenes.
And in this case, it seems like they did a great job.
At least from a technical perspective.
They might not love this story, but they can still respect the artistry.
The skill, the craft.
It shows the power of film to transport you.
Make you feel things.
Take you to another world.
And even a flawed film can have brilliant moments.
Okay, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
But there's one big thing we haven't really talked about yet.
What's that?
The performances. And based on what we've seen so far, I think this is where things get really interesting.
You think so?
Yeah. The reactions to the acting in Baby John are all over the place.
Some love it, some hate it.
Exactly.
It's a mixed bag.
So let's dive into that.
Let's talk performances.
And see why people are reacting in such different ways. Okay, so let's talk about those performances.
Yeah.
Because they're really what's getting everyone riled up.
Definitely lots of strong opinions flying around.
So let's start with Varun Dhawan himself.
All right, the leading man.
Some are saying this is his best work yet.
Like he's really leveled up.
But others are finding it a bit much.
Too intense.
Yeah. What's your take on all of this?
It's interesting. There are people who are totally on board with his performance.
They're loving it.
Yeah, they're praising his intensity, his emotional range.
That ability to be both strong and vulnerable.
Right. They're seeing a maturity in his acting that maybe wasn't there before.
Like he's grown as an actor.
Exactly. And it's not just the emotional stuff either.
What else?
They're talking about the physicality he brings to the role.
How he handles the action.
Yeah, it's believable. It's raw. You can feel the effort.
Like he's fully committed.
And that resonates with people.
They see that he's giving it his all.
Heart and soul into this performance.
But then there's the other side.
Right. The people who aren't feeling it.
They're saying it's over the top.
It's too dramatic.
Not subtle enough.
Yeah, it's not that they think he's a bad actor, necessarily.
No.
It's more that they're not connecting with the character.
Something's off.
They see the talent of the charisma.
But it's just not working for them.
Not in this role.
And I think this is where that Theri comparison comes back.
Inevitably.
Yeah.
You can't escape it.
People have that image in their heads of how the role was played before.
And they're coming in with expectations.
And for an actor, that's tough.
To try and live up to that.
It's like trying to cover a song everyone already loves.
You're always going to be compared.
Judged against the original.
And sometimes those comparisons are brutal.
Yeah, and in this case, it seems like those comparisons are hurting Varun Dhawan.
They're missing that spark.
That emotional depth.
That the original actor had.
It's like they're feeling a loss, almost.
Yeah, they're longing for something that's not there. It shows how powerful those original performances can be.
They stick with you.
And it makes it hard for anyone else to step into those shoes.
And it's not just about hitting the right notes.
No, it's about capturing the essence of the character.
And that's where things get subjective.
What works for one person might not work for another.
It's all about personal taste.
And how you connect with the performance.
Now, it's not just Varun Dhawan's performance that's getting attention.
Yeah.
Kirti Suresh is also getting a lot of feedback.
Mixed feedback.
What are people saying about her?
Well, some people really like her performance.
They think she's a bright spot in the film.
They're praising her grace, her charm.
They like her subtle expressions.
Yeah, the way she can say so much with just a look.
They see a strength in her character.
A quiet dignity.
And they're saying she brings a freshness to the role.
Like she's making it her own.
But then there are those who feel like she's not the right fit for the role.
They think she's miscast.
They say she doesn't have the same presence.
Not the same charisma that the original actress had.
They're missing that spark.
It really shows you how important casting is.
The right actor can make all the difference.
It can bring a character to life.
But when an actor is miscast, it can affect the whole film.
The dynamics, the chemistry.
It can make it hard to believe the story.
It's like trying to force something that doesn't fit.
Yeah, it might work, technically, but it just feels off.
And that's what some people are feeling with Kirti Suresh.
They see her talent,
but they're not feeling that connection.
not the same way they did with the original character.
It's like something's missing.
That essential spark.
And it shows you how powerful those first impressions can be.
You see a character one way,
And it's hard to change that image.
even if the new actor is doing a good job.
Before we wrap up, we have to talk about the one performance everyone seems to love.
Oh, yes. The little girl who plays Varun's daughter.
She's a scene stealer.
Everyone agrees.
Stealing hearts left and right.
They love her charm, her innocence.
It's that naturalness that shines through.
And she can convey so much emotion.
With such sincerity.
It's a reminder that sometimes the best performances come from unexpected places.
And it's a testament to her talent.
She's connecting with people.
On a deep level.
And it shows that even in a big action film like Baby John,
With all the spectacle.
sometimes those small moments
Those quiet performances.
have the biggest impact.
It's those moments of connection.
Those glimpses of vulnerability.
That remind us why we love movies.
We want to feel something.
Connect with the characters.
Be moved by the story.
And Baby John, despite its flaws, definitely has those moments.
Thanks in part to that little girl.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Baby John,
It's clear that this film has really gotten under people's skin.
it sparked debates.
Challenged expectations. It's a flawed film.
But it's a fascinating one.
And it tells us a lot about Bollywood.
About what people want from their movies.
And ultimately, isn't that what makes a film memorable?
Yeah, its ability to stay with you, to make you think.
To spark those conversations about storytelling, about cinema.
About what matters to us as viewers.
Absolutely. And Baby John has done that.
It's gotten people talking.
And that's an achievement in itself.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring the many sides of Baby John.
And we hope you'll keep thinking critically about the films you watch.
Peel back those layers.
Look for those hidden depths.
Find the meaning in the story.
The good and the bad.
Until next time, keep watching.
Keep thinking.
And keep those conversations going.